Hey there, morbid maniacs. It's time for another spooky video. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm taking it back to the classic scary stories to tell in the dark. And I'm going to be telling one of the more well-known stories known as Harold. So there were... Okay. So there was an old farmer in Arizona who owned the best farm on the land. Everybody said his crops were the best, and people came from all over just to buy from him. Whenever people asked him how he could grow such high quality crops, he always referred back to his scarecrow.
That old Scarecrow is the one that I have to thank. He makes sure no critters, crows, or pests go around my crops.
The old farmer had built this scarecrow all by himself, and it was a scary sight. He spent months working on this scarecrow, trying to make it as scary as possible. He knew how important it was to keep those pests away from his crops. So he gave it enormous strong arms, which reached out to about 6 feet, and big long legs which made it as tall as a tree. But the scariest thing about this scarecrow was its head. The farmer had carved it himself out of a huge pumpkin. He spent countless days and nights perfecting his design. The scarecrow's face and head was so grotesque and ugly that even he sometimes was scared to look at it. But it was very effective. It scared away every rodent or crow that came near his crops. The neighboring farm was owned by 2 young men who were brothers named Josh and Harold. They were lazy and they never did much work on their farm, which resulted in their crops being very bad. They were so jealous of this old farmer's crops and were plotting against him. If they could drive him out of business, then they could take over and they would make more money. So one night, the brothers decided to sneak onto the farmer's land. They stole his prized scarecrow, and instead of placing it on their crops, what did they do? They stuffed it into the closet where no one would ever be able to find it. The next day, the farmer woke up to see that his scarecrow was gone and all the crows and rodents were eating away on his crops. He fell to his knees and cried, knowing that his farm would soon be out of business. Meanwhile, the brothers Josh and Harold were watching the old man from a distance and laughing at his tears of grief. Hearing their laughter, the old farmer decided to go over to them and ask them if they knew what happened to his scarecrow. The brothers looked him right in the eye and said that they had no idea what happened to his precious scarecrow.
But you know I'll go out of business, and I'll have to sell my farm if I can't find my scarecrow.
Josh just laughed in his face, saying,
That's just your tough luck, isn't it? Sucks to be you.
The old farmer walked slowly back to his house, his head hanging in depression and defeat. That night, Josh and Harold had the worst trouble sleeping. They couldn't get that terrifying face of that scarecrow out of their minds. They decided they would never be able to sleep as long as that ugly pumpkin-headed thing was in their house. So they got up and they dragged the scarecrow out of the closet. Harold then took a baseball bat and hit Harold's head until it was nothing but little tiny pieces strewn along the floor. The brothers then swept up the pumpkin pieces off their floor and threw it in the trash. They then went back to bed and were soon enough right off to sleep with the image of the scarecrow far out of their minds. Sometime after midnight, however, Josh and Harold were soon awakened by scratching and clawing at their bedroom door.
Did you forget to put the dog out? We don't have a dog.
I just think it's funny that this kid's name is Josh. Like, I hear his name everywhere. It's crazy. Suddenly, the bedroom door burst open with a solitary long straw arm snaking in through the opening. Then a second arm thrashed around, followed by 2 long stick legs. The 2 brothers were frozen in fear and could only look in horror as this headless scarecrow's body rose up on its long stick legs and its long arms reached out for them in the darkness. Harold felt its straw arm close in around his ankle and could do nothing but scream as loud as he could. He begged his brother Josh to help him, but Josh was already running out of the bedroom. Like, these 2 were ridiculous. Like, fleeing in terror, he ran down the hallway, crashed through the front door and out onto the moonlit road. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him, puffing and panting and screaming with all of his might. As he passed his neighbor's house, he saw the old farmer standing at his gate. In the moonlight, he could see that the farmer had a strange smile on his face. Josh kept running, his bare feet slapping against the rough gravel road. He glanced back over his shoulder and saw something that scared him to his very soul. He saw the scarecrow running along beside him. It was gaining on him, coming closer and closer. And that wasn't all he saw. He noticed that the scarecrow had a brand new head, and it looked a lot like Harold. So there was the creepy story of Harold the Scarecrow. What do you guys think? This was always a very well-known, popular story from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I've got to hurry up because my camera's blinking, the battery's getting ready to die. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already and become Morbid Maniac. And if you're not aware already, I do have an OnlyFans account where I will be posting all of my sexier content. So the link to that is always in the description box below in case you'd like to check that out. Be sure to hit the bell notification, that way you get notified every single time I upload or post a new video. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.